Hello, everyone. Wycliffe, I don't know if you're back.
Yes, Susan, I'm back. I'm still trying to reach to Sam. His number is not going through, but I suggest that we begin so that when he joins us later on, perhaps he could be the last presenter.
Very good.
Yeah.
So maybe before I introduce the speakers, maybe you can ask the attendees to quickly just introduce themselves, starting with Mr. Chris Hawk.
Yes, hi. Sorry, my camera's not working for some reason.
No problem.
I'm an financier stroke innovative connector, I guess, between patient capital and good business in South Africa, and now based in London.
Welcome.
Thanks.
Shireen Elias. You are from Duda Solutions, I see.
Yes, hello. Yes, I'm an agricultural engineer working with Duda.
Great. Duda being Nada's company also, which she's producing it.
Right.
Welcome. Theo, Mr. Theo Luciani.
Hi, nice to meet you, everyone. Regarding this meeting, I'm completely outsider. I'm a chemical engineer and a PhD candidate in tissue engineering, so nothing related to soil, but I'm still very interested in the discussion and the talk that we will have. Thank you for having me.
Well, the analogy being that the soil is the tissue of the earth, no? So, welcome, of course.
Very nice.
Duncan Suter. Mr. Duncan.
Yes, hi, this is Duncan. I'm part of the organizers with Wycliffe or Fast Forward, part of the event organizers.
Welcome.
Thank
you. Miss Oli, or Mr. Oli, sorry. Oli H.
Hi guys, yeah, I just actually shared a link for the talk by a friend. I work in advertising, but it's a passion point of mine, soil health. So thanks for having me.
Welcome. Khaled Al-Abbas.
Hello, this is Khaled Al-Abbas, CEO and founder of Smart Land.
Mr. Khaled, it's not working, sorry.
Are working on smart irrigation and fertigation system that irrigate and fertigate according to the plant's needs.
Okay, welcome.
Oh, yeah.
Anya? Miss Anya? Or Miss Amber? Oh, Miss Anya is on, okay.
Hello, I'm Anna. I'm from Glasgow, and I'm looking to go back to my employment, and that's why I'm here to get some more knowledge.
Okay. Miss Amber.
Sakshevsky. Hi, everyone. Yeah, I'm currently working on a startup, Equi-Energy. It's recycling horse manure, and I'm just currently interested in exploring some other ways we can use this waste product.
Wastewater. Okay, great. Zelda. De la Garza? No, maybe not. Amos Tierra? Is it Amos?
Hello, everyone. I'm Amos Tira, an agricultural economics. I work with Procol Kenya.
Where from?
I'm from Kenya.
Kenya. Welcome. There is a certain user, I don't know their name, and there is Rollo.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
So I was slightly Pleasure, Nate.
Can you introduce yourself a bit quickly? Just to say
Yeah, of course. My name is Rollo. I founded a company called Nourish Communities, where we work with specifically regenerative farms all around the UK. And now I am starting a business called Consomme, which is similar to a Pret or a Leon. So it's fast food, only using sustainably sourced ingredients from local supply chains. And yeah, very interested in regenerative farming. So I thought I'd tune in.
Amazing. Okay, Joanna, you want to say hi?
Hi everyone, how are you? Hope all is good.
You want to introduce yourself quickly?
Okay, I'm Joanna Jardine. My background is in architecture and I'm also a biomimic. I have a master's in biomimicry. And I've been working for Fast Forward 2030 Lebanon, where I got to meet those wonderful people, of which Hawa and Nada Ghanem will be introducing their work today and talking about soil health, etc., which is super interesting and super inspiring. And it's been a wonderful journey. I mean, this entire journey of really exploring the possibility of having more, being more organic, being more attuned to nature, being closer to Earth. Really, I mean, connecting with Earth on a deeper level. So I'm really excited about your presentation. And best of luck, and you'll be great.
Thank you, Joanna. Very enthusiastic intro. Appreciate it. We'll leave now the floor for the speakers. I'll quickly introduce them. Ms. Price, she is a graduate from London School of Economics, London Business School, and then you are graduated from not Manchester. Sorry, remind me.
I'm afraid I'm a bit of an academic junkie, so I did my undergraduate and master's at Stanford, and then I also did a course in sustainability at Cambridge. So
great.
Pick your school.
Cambridge is the last university that you graduated from, right?
That would be the last one, yes.
And now you are the CEO of a new company, 1 year old, and focus on regenerative agriculture. Basically, combating synthetic nitrogen spread, and replacing it with organic nitrogen or other solutions. So welcome, Kelly, honored. Nada Ghanem, please introduce your company quickly.
So to introduce Duda, my name is Nada Ghanem. I'm the founder of Duda Solutions. Duda Solutions is an earthworm farm where we recycle organic waste to produce vermicompost. So we're working towards a more sustainable agriculture environment, and we'll be discussing more details about what we do in the coming few moments. Thanks.
Great. Mr. Wycliffe, anyone else joining, or we can just start?
Yes, we expect some, but we can start, then he'll join us.
Okay, great. So we'll give around 10 minutes to each speaker, and then we're going to open the floor for Q&As. So please, if you have questions, write them down either in the chat box or on your notes, and then we can give you the floor.
Sorry, Hussam, Sam is here with us. I've just seen he's in the call already.
Mr. Samuel, welcome.
Thank you. It's amazing to join in today. I will be turning on my video in a few. So it's a pleasure to be here today. So I'm Samuel Rigo, co-founder and CEO of Safi Organics. And in Safi Organics, what we do, we convert waste or crop waste into a high-yielding fertilizer for smallholder farmers in Kenya. And this, we are working towards replicating this across the continent and globally.
Great. And Mr. Samuel, I think your business was in 8 years also active, right, in the market?
Sorry?
8 years active in the market, right? You're
yes, yes. We are already in the market. We have been in the market for the last 7 years, with about 10,000 customers who we are working with.
Great. So maybe we can start, Ms. Kelly, if you can please go ahead.
Absolutely. Let me just get my old share screen up for just give me a second as I pull that up.
Sure, take your time.
Great, thank you. Great, okay. Hopefully that works. Can everybody see that?
Yeah, everyone can see. Thanks.
Okay, so then let me get into ye old presentation mode and then be golden. Great. Okay, well, first of all, thank you guys so much for joining. It's really great to be connecting with people all around the world and all connected by this passion for soil health, which I agree is absolutely infectious and exciting. And my background myself is in biology, but I am new to this in the sense that I spent my first career using my biology background in pharmaceutical consulting, but then I became much more concerned about the health of the planet than the health of people. And so I really wanted to apply my experience in a way that I felt would have more impact. And so I've joined a group of people who are also passionate about soil health, and we formed Agreed Earth to help farmers profit naturally using more nature, less nitrogen. And I'll tell you about that. Because as I probably don't need to explain to most people here, agriculture is broken, and the way we produce our food is actually responsible for around a fourth, depending on how you calculate it, of the greenhouse gas emissions in the world. And some of that's from destroying, carbon sinks, and some of it's from the actual emissions coming off the land. But while we talk a lot about carbon, nitrogen is often overlooked. It doesn't start with a C, first of all. That people don't realize the actual carbon footprint that nitrogen fertilizers, synthetic fertilizers, have. They're a real problem for both the planet and for farmers' profit. So this is a real lose-lose situation that farmers around the world are actually quite dependent on synthetic nitrogen fertilizer to grow their crops. And here's one of the major reasons why nitrogen is really bad for the planet. It has a huge outsized environmental impact. It's made from methane, first of all, and it takes about 2% of the world's energy just to produce it. And that's actually on par with the airline industry, which gets a really bad rap. People talk a lot about flying and flight shame, but people don't talk so much about nitrogen fertilizer. Also, when it's put on the field, it releases nitrous oxide, N2O, which is 300 times more potent than CO2 as a greenhouse gas, which is big. And then, as if that weren't enough, it actually kills the microbes in the soil. It disrupts that lovely kind of, I call it the microbial market, where the plants give carbon and the soils give nutrients, including the microbes give nitrogen, and it's just this happy exchange going on. But if the plant's getting it from above, it doesn't need to give as much carbon down, and the microbes kind of wither away and die. That reduces the soil's natural fertility. And again, as if that weren't enough, so much nitrogen is overused that a whole bunch of it runs off into the waterways and pollutes the waterways and causes eutrophication, which is a huge, huge problem everywhere. In fact, the boundary for nutrients, the specific nutrient nitrogen, is the first boundary that apparently crossed planetarily, and crossed many since then, but it's the first and it's the one we've crossed the most. Basically, we're sucking way too much nitrogen out of the air and then having it run amok all through our systems, and it's causing a lot of problems, in addition to just the greenhouse gases. Now, I mentioned it's a problem for farmers. Well, one of the big reasons is because the price has just skyrocketed. This actually started last year, so before the war in Ukraine, but that war certainly has not helped the situation any, and it's very likely that prices will remain high as energy prices have remained high because of this lovely new bottleneck that we've got going on. So this is a real problem, and farmers are having to cut back on their use, but that's a problem because they equate nitrogen usage with yield. They're basically dependent on this input because they've kind of killed off their soil and that microbial market I was talking about. And so in order to get the yields that they're looking for to get the revenue they're looking for, they need to use it. So as the price goes up, there goes their profit. So I'm having trouble. There we go. So regenerative agriculture can actually help reduce a farmer's need for synthetic nitrogen by helping rehabilitate the soil over time and getting that cycle going again. But there's two key reasons why farmers don't just immediately go, oh, I'll use regen and not so much synthetic nitrogen. The first is the fact that they're not quite sure how to do it. There are different ways, and it depends on your soil type and what you're trying to grow and what happens the year before and the weather, and it's all very complicated, you know. So that's the first thing, is they're not sure exactly what to do. The second thing is they worry that as they wean themselves off of nitrogen, they're going to have a dip in their yield as their soil takes time to rehabilitate, and that will further impact their finances, and they're afraid that they can't afford it, that they would literally be betting the farm. And so that stays a lot of their hands, even if they believe it might be the right thing to do for the long term. And so those are the two things that we're trying to address at Agreed. The intelligence of what to do, how to do it, when, where, and why. And also the financial, to make sure that we can help de-risk this decoupling of nitrogen from yield for them, so it makes financial sense. Because at the end of the day, farms are businesses, and they're not going to do anything that they think is not in their financial interest. Now, the way that we're doing this is we're building a product using satellite data. We have received a grant from the European Space Agency through their Aspire with ESA program to build a satellite monitoring tool using their Sentinel-5 data to monitor the emissions coming off of farmers' fields when they apply synthetic nitrogen fertilizer. And probably wondering why. Why do that? Well, there's a number of reasons. First of all, if we can monitor these emissions, we can help a farmer understand how efficiently or not their nitrogen usage is. This is right now a big black box. It's just too costly to put sensors in the field to monitor these emissions coming off when they put the fertilizer on. So the only cost-effective way to do this is through remote sensing. But it is difficult, and that's why it hasn't been done before. But we're building that tool to be able to help the farmers have this window on their usage and their emissions so that they can try to get those emissions down and use the nitrogen they do use more efficiently. And also, as we can see those emissions going down, hopefully we can get them rewarded financially through an avoided emissions credit for doing good work to further help de-risk this financially for them. And so we're using that in combination with the ground truthing data from what they apply and when, and how much they've purchased, to really understand how much impact they're having on the production side of nitrogen and also the emissions from the application, to get that full true picture of the footprint and help them guide their usage down over time. And to that end, we've built a platform to help connect farmers to each other, for other farmers who are doing this, for knowledge exchange, especially if they find somebody nearby who they could go visit. We're helping them find ways that they could earn from being more sustainable through regen practices, things that they could purchase, like a lot of the products that my fellow startups have mentioned. You know, those would be the great sorts of products we would be wanting to promote instead of synthetic nitrogen as alternatives. Knowledge exchange for sharing, and videos, podcasts, ways that they can learn about this and share knowledge further. We've also started building a soil moisture retention map, because as they reduce their need for nitrogen and their usage, the soil's moisture retention ability should improve, which is actually improving the value of the land, which is another way that we want to make the case for regen and help them get rewarded for adding that value and being less of a flood risk, a drought risk, or a yield drop for a weather event. I was just looking at an article that just came out talking about how the UK is going into a drought. And this is a case study that we've done for one of our farmers, looking at his fields when he first started regen, and then how it had improved this particular field over time in 2018. And the soil moisture retention score had gone up massively during that time as he had implemented strategic cover crops and other techniques like using biochar. And so that is it for me. I don't know if I was over or under time, but hopefully that made sense, and I look forward to any questions later.
No, amazing, Kelly. Thank you so much. Great. On time, very excellent and very illustrating presentation. Thank you. We'll leave the questions probably to the end. Nada, please, floor is yours.
Thank you, Hussam. Hello, everyone. I'm so glad to be among you today, presenting to you the work we do at Duda. So to start with, I'll give you a brief background of what I do. So I studied environmental sciences. I have a master in ecosystem management. I've been in this field for more than 10 years now. I've worked on several studies related to biodiversity, water, air pollution, waste management, and many others. However, my main passion was in earthworms and vermicomposting, which started in 2014 while I was for my master's degree. I introduced the topic to Lebanon, and in 2018, I started Duda Solutions, and I'll be sharing with you now what we do in Duda. Okay. %95% of our food comes from soil. We all know that. But this non-renewable resource is currently scarce. So with the studies showing that up to 60 to 70% of soils are unhealthy because of unsustainable management practices. This reality is causing a lot of fear to farmers. So instead of looking for alternative methods for improving soil health, they go for excessive use of fertilizers and pesticides, of course, as more disease and insects invade the plants. So they go into a vicious cycle, which creates a negative impact on crop yields in the long run. This cycle has to stop, and it can with Duda Solutions. Duda Solutions is an earthworm farm specialized in raising worms and producing premium-grade solid and liquid vermicompost. So Duda is the Arabic word for earthworms. Earthworms are soil engineers. They eat organic material to produce vermicompost, an organic soil amendment that's 5 times better than compost and has unique qualities that improve the crop's color, taste, and aroma. So after 8 years of research and development, we created a high-quality vermicompost formula under the supervision of professional experts, using processes that make Duda scalable in different countries. So we've created technology that allows us to harvest the worms automatically through machines without having to pick them worm by worm or by labor, you know. In 2021, we sold more than 20 tons of Duda solid vermicompost to farmers through B2B direct sales. Among those farmers is Elissa. She had an amazing experience with the olive trees. Her production was increased 3 times, and we did our investigation to make sure that it was a direct result of the vermicompost, not any other environmental factor or something like by chance. And it was confirmed, and we are so proud of this result. Also, Sami, who's a potato farmer, he achieved 1.5 times more potato production in the same year, in 2021. The product we provide gives farmers many other benefits. To name 2, most of our customers, they achieve 75% less need for water for irrigation, and 40% less, 40% less water for irrigation, and 75% less pest attacks. Our customers choose Duda because it combines the benefits of chemical fertilizers because it's effective, and it combines also the benefits of compost or organic fertilizers. So it's very environmentally safe and provides nutrients to the fruit and plants we eat. Okay, so in addition to the benefits of chemical fertilizers and the organic compost, it has unique attributes that make Duda the farmer's best choice. So it reduces soil salinity, it suppresses plant disease, it includes enzymes that help improve soil nutrient and fertility, and of course it repels crop pests. Why vermicompost is important? So whatever the worm eats gets transformed, and we're bringing nature to nature. So it's a normal, natural process that happens naturally in the soil and forests. We see it in untouched lands. So whenever there's no human interference or excessive chemical fertilizers and pesticides, worms are there in the soil. So at Douda, we try to revive the soil through the application of vermicompost. Why is vermicompost important? So it increases crop yields by double. It reduces water consumption for irrigation by 30 to 40%. It also increases germination speed. So this is very important for farmers when they start doing the seedlings and so on. So it gives them an ability to enter the market at an earlier stage than others. It also improves the food quality. So it gives the fruits and everything that's planted becomes more nutritious. And this is very important because it directly affects our health. So if we want to have a healthier generation, it's important to apply vermicompost to the soil. Also, it reduces pest attacks. You might wonder how this happens. So this is also a natural thing. We don't have anything to do with all these benefits. It's something that comes with the vermicompost. When we apply vermicompost to the soil, it increases the plant immunity to pests. Okay, so it increases the release of an enzyme. So whenever the insect eats from the plant leaf or comes near to it, it dissolves its skeleton. So they get killed, and it's a natural radiation to insects. And of course, when we combine all these benefits, it also reduces the farming costs. So we're improving the yield, we're improving the quality, we're reducing many costs. All these together improve the farming revenues. So, but that's not all. In addition to the solid vermicompost.
One more minute.
Okay, to cater for hydroponics, smart farms, and the farms that have modern irrigation systems, we're introducing the liquid vermicompost, which is going to be giving us a wider reach in the market. So in Lebanon, our market is $10 million. Our plan in the next 5 years is to launch into Douda farms in the MENA region. I'm looking at a reachable market size of $1 billion. We have a strong professional team. These are the main key players in our company. Myself, Nada, the founder, Rami, who's our operational managers, and Shireen, who's our agricultural engineer. Our project has a lot of environmental benefits. To name few, it reduces greenhouse emissions through recycling organic waste. It restores soil ecosystem and increases arable land. It reduces the volume of food waste sent to landfills and reduces the use of chemical fertilizers. Also, our processes, we are empowered by solar power. So when we speak about the impact, every year we're helping to restore 3 hectares of land. We're avoiding 6,000 metric tons of CO2 emissions, and we're producing, by the end of this year, 420 tons of vermicompost per year. Going to the Sustainable Development Goals, Douda contributes directly to 5 major Sustainable Development Goals. In the past year, Douda was successfully raised $182,000 in grants, which we used to increase our production capacity. So, on our journey, together we can restore soil health, improve human health, and bring more resilience to climate change. Thank you. Any questions are welcomed.
Thank you. Thank you. Great. I will please preserve the questions till the end. Mr. Samuel, you want to go ahead? The floor is yours. Mr. Samuel? Yeah. We can't hear you actually. Maybe you're still muted or.
So I have just decided to share with a different machine. So I hope you can see the screen.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes.
farmers in Africa are paying 2 to 5 times the world fertilizers. And what is worse is that these farmers are prone to fluctuation of these prices due to things like COVID-19 or the Russian-Ukraine war, making it really difficult for fertilizers to get to the African continent. And interestingly, whichever fertilizers get into the continent, most of the smallholder farmers will go for the cheapest of these fertilizers, which are actually made in a one-fit-all kind of way. So when farmers use these fertilizers, they see degradation of their soil, just like we were told by one of the presenters about the impact of nitrogen or nitrates in the soil and what impact they have. Personally, I grew up in a rural environment, and I remember my grandmother one afternoon telling me that, son, 20 years ago, we were harvesting double of what we harvested today. I'm afraid in future, there'll be no food in this land to feed your children. And it turns out she was right. So at Safi Organics, we use technology designed together with the MIT to decentralize and small-scale fertilizer production, making it possible for the first time to produce the bulk of fertilizers in local villages using local resources and labor. So what happens is actually we collect the waste or the biomass waste, turn this into biochar, then grind and mix with a special nutrient mix, making a carbon negative fertilizer that enables farmers increase the yield by up to 27%. We have a great team of employees of 18, actually our team is 18 permanent, and we are supported by an advisory board. So who do we target? We target a farmer like Mr. Rigo, who is a smallholder farmer, and his biggest fear is if he'll be able to put food on the table for his children. So when he started using our product in 2018, he saw an increase in yield of about 30%, which was enough money for him now to take 2 of his children to school. We estimate at 240 million farmers across Africa, 240 million farmers globally, and they're growing at about 2.9%. So what makes us different in the market? Yes, we know fertilizer plants are expensive to set up, so they cannot be set up anywhere. So they are centralized. We know composting, on the other hand, takes long, can be decentralized, but takes very long to turn around. We are talking about 2 weeks at best, or otherwise up to 3 months. So for us, what we really pride ourselves to, up and beyond the capex and the time that we are saving, is the fact that we can tailor make the fertilizer to actually fit the African soil or the soils that we are targeting, and the farmers will see an increase of yield by 27%. So currently we have actually over 10,000 farmers, though here it's written 7,000. Like this a lot, an old one, because my machine could not load, so that's why I ended up using a different one. But we are expanding in Kenya, and we are currently setting up three production facilities like the one we have here, as we look forward to expand to our neighboring country. So if you look at our revenues, currently we get our revenues from the sale of fertilizer. However, in the medium term, we are looking at licensing our machine or charging per ton usage of the product converted. So then in the very medium to long term, we look at licensing the hardware itself through large agricultural manufacturers. And in the very long term, because our product has a capacity of converting CO2 or sequestering CO2 in the soil permanently, we are looking at carbon credit as a possible source of revenue. So currently we are cash positive, and we are looking that by 2024, we'll at least be making our first $1 million in sales. So in terms of financial requirement, we would look to get about 1.5 in the next 3 years. Now, in terms of impact, what we have done so far, currently we have created jobs for about 110 people, and we have sequestered about 34,000 kilos of CO2. So we look forward to actually in the coming year to create jobs for about 1,700 through the current facility and the 3 others that we are setting up. And at the same time, we'll be looking at sequestering about 300,000 tons of CO2.
Samuel, 1 minute, please.
Thank you very much. That's the end of my presentation.
Great. Amazing. All right, so we have quite some discussions going on the side chat. We'll leave it there. Please, any of you have questions, you can now either raise hands or you can just type them in. Kindly, if you can direct the first questions to Ms. Kelly, because she might have to leave a bit earlier, but I think we're good on time, Kelly, maybe. I think 20 minutes would be good for discussions anyways. So please feel free to, yes, Mariam, you want to start with the first question? Mariam?
It's me.
You were raising your hand? Sorry. Okay, I don't know. I thought you wanted to say something. Okay.
I do have a question to Kelly, since you gave me the
spotlight. I also have a question, so I'll go after you. Go ahead.
Yeah, Kelly, I understand that your company does regenerative solutions per se, so it's so far not a specific product, but I was wondering if you focus on nitrogen. I was just wondering if you consider other combining it with different types of solutions. So maybe less carbon, maybe less, another type.
Phosphorus.
Yeah, so that you can maximize impact, for example, specifically because you kind of create solutions.
I see what you're saying. I mean, we definitely want to maximize impact. There's no question. At the same time, I think we want to be laser focused on our nitrogen solution for a number of reasons. First of all, it's very difficult to do what we're trying to do with the satellite data. But if we are able to crack it, when we crack it, it will be super powerful and really provide a lot of insight that doesn't yet exist. And so we really believe in focusing on this. Second of all, I think there are a number of players in the carbon soil sequestration market, and we're helping farmers get on the journey that would allow them, if they wish, to monetize their soil carbon sequestration down the road. But getting off of nitrogen is one of the things that helps accelerate that sequestration and really kickstart that cycle again. So those are a number of reasons, coupled with what we're really looking to do is, as we're building our models, we're going to be relating what specific region practices led to the reduction of reliance on nitrogen, so that we can build decision support tools for the farmers so that they can leapfrog based on other farmers' learnings who have gone before them, so they don't have to reinvent the wheel and have a period of trial and error as they figure out what's going to work best for their setting.
Okay. Great. Kelly, I also have a question, please. My first question is, how do you measure the emissions? One, and two, how are you planning to make this into a business model? Is it a service thing? Is it decision support system, how do you call it, like a registration fees? How do you foresee Agreed Earth to have this as a business model?
How the heck are you going to make any money off of that?
Exactly.
Well, I'll answer.
I'm gonna be honest. Also, I mean, we're in a very similar project that's been funded by the EU for the creating decision support system for farmers to have more water efficient irrigation, using also soil data, using remote sensing, also good agriculture practices, including also many of the practices you mentioned. So I'm very interested also to pitch that with you, like maybe just have a discussion at some point with, or whoever would like to also discuss that. But we were having a bit of an issue in trying to make
a profit.
You know, no, not a profit. We're not making any profit. It's a research-based project. Eventually, maybe the promoters of it are going after some kind of business model or a product. We're not really concerned with that at the moment. We're looking at the socioeconomics data, and we're looking at how can we convince farmers that this is actually something that can make them, better for their pockets if they also decide much better on water use efficiency and fuel use efficiency and all of this.
So, I mean, there's a lot in what you just said. I'll do my best to be succinct, but the first is we're not charging farmers. That's one of our missions is actually we want to reward farmers for doing the right thing, put money back in their pockets. So our business model is not a subscription for farmers or anything like that. It's actually to be a data source for a number of other different startups, supply chains that might want to see how their supply chain is doing on this particular emission over time and how they're drawing down, et cetera, et cetera. Land companies that want to see how the land is being improved over time, the flood risk level, all of those things that we're able to monitor remotely. That data will be very valuable and we will monetize it in that way. We're not charging farmers and we want farmers to use us freely as much as possible. No farmer ever anywhere said, gosh, I wish I needed to use more of this really expensive toxic product to get my yield, So convincing them that, that they want to use less nitrogen, not a problem. Convincing them that this will work and help get their yield back up, that is the heart of it. And so that, again, requires data. The proof is in the pudding. I'm going to just show you really quickly, if you can see this. This is some data that came out of Groundswell, a regen farming conference that was held just last month. And basically farmers in regen compared to conventional are using around a third to half of the nitrogen to get the same amount of yield, kilograms in yield per ton as their conventional counterparts, just by using regen practices. So it's crunching that data set and then building the decision support tools that we're going to be doing. But as we build the models, there's just so many different places. We're actually not sure which will be our first monetization source.
Your audience, farmer audience, are in Europe, UK, or where?
Yeah, great question. We're starting with the UK as our beachhead, and then we want to expand out to both the EU and the US, largely because the global north is one of the heaviest users of synthetic nitrogen. They're heavily dependent upon it. Somebody asked in the chat, I'll just mention that, where's a kind of a test case or I don't know, like a starting country. The Netherlands, the government is regulating, and just last month there were massive protests by farmers about the government saying that they had to use less nitrogen because they equate it with profit. It's like the government saying you have to make less profit, and that's what we want to fix, is so that they don't view it that way and they're happy to use less because they'll be able to bounce their yields up and have more money in their pockets.
Great, thank you, Kelly. Very nice answers. Anybody else have a question for Kelly? Since we started there. I think I saw a hand. Ronald, was it? Or anyone?
I raised my hand because
yeah,
hi again. So Kelly, thanks a lot for your presentation, and what you're doing is really amazing. It's interesting that you brought the Netherlands topic. because the moment you started with the nitrogen, from the first slide, I directly thought about Netherlands, because I was there like 2 months ago, and I met with farmers, and it's really a big topic, a controversial topic that's bringing everyone like in a clash, you know, and exactly, and this motivates us to believe more in what we do, and believe that bringing more innovative solutions and tackling the problem from a new perspective in a way that wasn't thought about before is okay. And I believe what you're doing and what we are trying to do also is scalable and can be implemented in different environments. The reasons behind the problem differs from a community to the other and from one country to the other, but the end result and the main problem is the same. Maybe we have different business models, but the basis is the same.
Yeah, we're all coming at the same problem from different angles, but it's all very complementary.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Wonderful.
Sorry, Joanna, go ahead.
Okay, another question for Kelly. There's a part that I really liked about in your presentation is that you use AI as a measure to measure the emission of nitrogen in the air, and to regulate it, and to assess the health of the soil in terms of too much presence of the toxic nitrogen that is being emitted. And I love the part that you're also searching for customized solutions as well in order to restore soil health. So this is where innovative ideas and cooperation and partnerships come into play with your organization, where you search for people who have actual solutions for specific problems. So I would like to know more about that.
So very simply, we're open to, our platform is meant to be just a resource directory consolidating kind of the sustainable region ecosystem. And so anybody who's playing a role in there, we'd be happy to put on. Again, we started in the UK because that's where we're based, and we have the relationships here. So we're kind of focused on the farmers here, but we totally plan to expand out to, I mean, hopefully all the countries, to really showcase the good work that's happening and facilitate knowledge exchange, in addition to the use of our decision support tools, which will have to be calibrated for the different environments. So that's another caveat of rolling that out to different markets. But the platform and the knowledge exchange, easily done. So we welcome any contacts, or yeah.
I was going to say, Kelly, that we work with over about 130 farms, and I'm happy to introduce you to a few in Kent if useful, just for a test basis, just some case studies if helpful.
That would be amazing. Let's definitely connect.
Yeah.
Cool.
Where, Rolo? Where?
Oh, in Kent, so Perrycourt Farm is the main one. But we also work with ones across Isle of Wight and all sorts of places, really.
In Belgium?
No, just sorry, in the UK. In the UK.
Kent, okay.
Yeah, generally within 100 miles of London.
You heard Ghent.
Oh, sorry. Sorry.
Or Ghent, or as you like. Great. So thanks everyone for the questions. I have a question for Nada actually. Nada, when you're talking about reduction of cost on farmers, what does this? How does it add up? How do you add it up? And how do you compare your kilo versus a conventional kilo of synthetic, let's say, conventional fertilizer?
Yeah.
In terms of cost for production and consumption.
So when it comes to the farmer's cost, so it depends on at the end of the day, it depends on the farming industry and the farming environment. It varies from one country to the other. For example, in Lebanon, the farming cost is increasing drastically, especially in the current situation. So there's no electricity, the irrigation is on pumps, so everything needs fuel, needs electricity. So whenever you're presenting a product that reduces the need for irrigation because it acts as a sponge in the soil, it holds more water, it supplies humidity, you're bringing a lot of value to the farmer. Also, when you're providing a product that increases the yield, compared to the normal organic fertilizer, then of course you're adding to their profit when it comes to the market. Another factor is when the product also allows faster germination and higher germination rate percentage. For example, if we say seeds germinate on a percentage of, let's say, 65 or 67, it would germinate at a rate of 70, 75, up to 80. So this all adds to the overall profits of the farmer. And the list goes on.
And on the shelf, on the retail cost, how much is each kilo compared to, how much is more expensive?
Yeah, so when it comes to vermicompost, the product is expensive. So if we look for the international market and we do a market research, the 1 kilogram of vermicompost is sold on average for $10, because it's sold for its value, not for the quantity or the cost plus, because at the end of the day, it's not a cow farm where we sell milk and meat and dairy products, and the waste of our farm is just simply, instead of throwing it, it's better to sell it and get some revenue. The entire business is the farm. So we do not sell any other products. We raise the worms, we take a lot of care to maintain their health, because these are sensitive creatures. The temperature change affects them, moisture change affects them. So if the area is too wet, they cannot produce optimally. If it's too hot, they will die. If it's dry, also they will die. So there are several factors that contribute to whether the process succeeds or not. And that's what we were trying to do and perfect for the last 8 years. So we came up with the machines that also save a lot of labor cost, because the process is costly. You need to harvest the worms in primitive methods, you know. We also have to dry the product, sieve it, then pack it. So it all takes a lot of effort. You cannot compare it to any other organic fertilizer or organic manure, you know, animal manure. And when it comes to the price, or the not only the price, so when it comes to the application, in vermicompost you would need 150 kilograms per dönum, per 1,000 square meter, whereas in other organic compost or manure you'd need tons per dönum, you know. So the product is concentrated and has high value. So the farmer might pay more per ton, but he would need less tons per dönum, or less. So the overall is more effective, efficient for the farmer, especially that on a span of 4 years, continuous application would improve the soil quality, would revive the soil health. So you have all the microorganisms, bacteria, fungi. So it's a healthy living environment again.
This brings us to the other slide that you showed, and you said you directly relate the tests to your product. I wanted to ask you about the span of time for measuring like this, and because to see the effect of a fertilizer on a tree, it might take time. So how did you really link it so quickly?
Actually, it doesn't take a lot of time to show. It shows in the first season. But what we do and what we always recommend for our customers is to run a soil test before applying the product, and a soil test at the end of the season, so that they can see the improvement in the soil health, and we can together relate the results to the soil health. Also, we customize, for example, so how things are. So you don't have the same quality of soil everywhere, and the same two dönums, each dönum can be of different quality, you know. So that's why we recommend soil tests, so that all differs from one farmer to the other based on what is their end result. Also, another thing that we include in the customization is some farmers do not need like an instant change. Others need a faster change, for example. So also this adds to the dosages and how we plan the entire transformation of the soil.
Okay, Kelly, sorry, maybe you're already leaving. Would you like to just say any concluding remarks?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you all so much. This has been a wonderful event. Really great to connect with all of you, and I really hope to stay in touch. So thank you. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thanks for being here, Kelly. Samuel, concerning biochar, can you tell us a bit about the costing versus like other conventional replacements?
Perfect. So biochar, as Kelly commented, is that if you can use up to a certain point, and then beyond that point, it becomes actually a limiting factor in production because of mainly the pH and because it will interfere completely with the pH, lowering the pH to actually basic. So which is not good for the soil. However, for us to counter this, our technology allows us to produce a specific type of biochar where we can either produce an acidified biochar or a slightly basic biochar. So we have that capacity to produce that depending on the soil need and the soil content. So in terms of pricing, for us, what we sell to the farmer, we tell them actually our value proposition to the farmers, we tell them for the same price that you have been paying for the fertilizers, you'll get a 30% increase in yield. And how do we achieve this? So farmers in most cases will, it will cost for a bag of our product, cost about, currently the cost is about $25. That is a 50 kg bag. So the farmers end up using up to 150 kilos. So that is about 3 bags per acre. So which is very, very economical, although they will actually save a little, like 5% in terms of pricing, but the 5% doesn't really click, and it's not something big to really wow the customer. So for value proposition, we tell them for the same price, you get a 30% increase.
How do you showcase that? I don't know.
Is that farmers are skeptical, and definitely then the product is really, really tough because of their past experiences. So what we simply do when we get to a farmer and a new client, we tell them, can we use on a small portion of land, just 4 by 5 meter portion of land. Then we compare how the product is performing versus your normal way of doing things. In most cases, within a month, that farmer is converted and is using our product. Yeah.
Great. Okay, Samuel, thanks a lot, and thanks a lot for making it the last minute. Nada, was great having you. Fast forward, Mariam, thanks a lot for organizing. Any concluding remarks, please feel free to say anything now, or we can just close it. And looking forward to seeing you all again in a different session.
Yeah, so it is our responsibility to ensure that we have a good world for the future generation. And in our small ways, we make a big difference. So let everyone keep doing the small things that they're doing. As we make them big, the future generation needs this earth better than it is. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Samuel. Amazing concluding remarks. Okay, Mariam, I think we can close it. Great to have you, everyone. Have a great day.
Thank you all. Thank you, Hassan, for sharing.
Sure.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.